Captain Rodriguez stood motionless on the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The alien vessel loomed before them, its unfamiliar silhouette a dark promise against the stars. Still no response on any frequency, Captain. Lieutenant Quan reported, her fingers dancing across the communications panel. We've tried everything from radio to quantum packets. Rodriguez nodded, the weight of humanity's first contact settling heavily on her shoulders. Continue broadcasting peaceful intentions. Let's give them one more chance. The alien ship hung in space like a massive obsidian dagger, its surface rippling with strange geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow. At nearly 3 kilometers in length, it dwarfed the Dauntless, Earth's most advanced warship. Sensors are having trouble penetrating their hull, Science Officer Okafor said, frustration evident in her voice. It's like the readings keep changing. Whatever they're made of, it's nothing in our database. Rodriguez tapped her command console, bringing up the emergency protocols. First contact scenarios had been drilled into every space captain since humanity expanded beyond Earth, but none of the simulations had prepared her for the reality of facing something so utterly alien. Engine signature is unlike anything we've ever recorded, Chief Engineer Takeda reported from below decks. They're putting out energy levels that should be impossible without a small sun as a power source. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Whatever this vessel was, whoever had built it, they were operating on a technological level that made humanity's proudest achievements seem primitive by comparison. Captain, Quan's voice cut through the silence, higher than normal. They're scanning us. Our systems are being probed. Before Rodriguez could respond, the tactical officer shouted, "Energy spike. They're powering weapons." "Shields up," Rodriguez commanded. "Evasive pattern delta. Arm railguns but hold fire. I repeat, hold fire unless I give the order." The Dauntless banked hard, fusion drides flaring as it executed the evasive maneuver. Too late. A beam of coherent energy, shimmering with an impossible violet light, lanced out from the alien vessel. It sliced through the Dauntless's shields as if they weren't there, cutting across the port side armor like a scalpel through flesh. Direct hit. The tactical officer yelled over the sudden blare of alarms. Port armor compromised. Weapons systems offline. Rodriguez gripped her chair as the ship shuddered violently. Damage report. Primary power grid failing. Takeda's voice crackled through the comm. Fusion reactor containment holding, but railgun capacitors are fried. Whatever they hit us with, it went through our defenses like they weren't even there. All hands, brace for impact, Rodriguez warned as the alien vessel repositioned for another strike. She watched the tactical display, calculating their odds. The Dauntless was wounded, outgunned, and facing technology beyond human understanding. But she still had one advantage: the unpredictability of human desperation. "Helm, prepare for emergency burn on my mark," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We're getting out of here. We need to warn Earth. We are not alone, and we are not ready." The Neptune Defense Station's emergency medical bay buzzed with activity as medics treated the wounded from the Dauntless. Captain Rodriguez winced as a doctor sealed a laceration on her forehead, her attention fixed on the holoprojection dominating the center of the command center. Admiral Y. Chen's weathered face looked even grimmer than usual. The projected image flickered slightly, a reminder of the damage sustained by the station's communication array during the hasty evacuation of Mars outposts. 7 more Vraxian vessels entered the system in the past 12 hours, Chen reported. Their technology is beyond anything we anticipated encountering. Rodriguez watched the tactical display as it showed the alien fleet's methodical advance through the outer solar system. "They cut through our best shields like they weren't even there, Admiral. The Dauntless was supposed to be unsinkable. And yet you brought her home," Chen noted, "damaged but intact. That gives us something to work with." The Admiral's fingers manipulated the display, bringing up the sensor readings captured during the encounter. "Our analysts have been studying the data you retrieved. The Vraxians appear to utilize some form of phase-shifting technology in their defensive systems. Conventional weapons simply pass through their effective displacement field. Dr. Okafor stepped forward, dark circles under her eyes testifying to sleepless nights spent analyzing the encounter. Their weapons seem to operate on principles of localized gravity manipulation. They don't just damage our ships, they distort the very space-time around the impact point. How do we fight something like that? Rodriguez asked, voicing the question haunting everyone in the room. Chen's expression hardened. We can't. Not directly. Not yet. The Admiral expanded the tactical display to show the positions of Earth's remaining military vessels. The fleet looked pathetically small against the encroaching Vraxian armada. Earth Defense Command is constructing emergency countermeasures based on your data, but we need more information, Chen continued. Specifically, we need detailed scans of their propulsion and weapon systems at the moment of activation. Rodriguez understood immediately. You want us to get close enough to observe them firing. Not just observe, Chen said quietly. We need you to provoke them into demonstrating their full capabilities while surviving long enough to transmit the data back. Silence fell over the command center. Everyone present understood the implications. The Dauntless is the only ship with first-hand experience against them, Chen continued. And you're the only captain who's faced them and lived. We've patched her up as best we can, replaced the crucial systems. Rodriguez stared at the display, at the overwhelming force approaching humanity's home. She thought about her crew, the survivors looking to her for leadership, and the empty chairs that would never be filled again. A suicide mission, she said. Not a question. Chen didn't insult her with denial. The fate of Earth depends on understanding what we're facing. Without that knowledge, we're just waiting to die. Rodriguez straightened, ignoring the pain from her injuries. When do we leave? Tomorrow, Chen answered. And Elena, if there's any way to bring your people home this time, find it. Dr. Okafor stared at the holographic display until her eyes burned. The salvaged Vraxian technology pulsed with an eerie blue light as her team's diagnostic programs probed its inner workings. Behind the reinforced glass of the observation chamber, the alien scout ship's components had been carefully disassembled and arranged according to their best understanding of the systems. There, she said, pointing to a fluctuation in the energy signature. Did you see that? Her assistant, Dr. Karim, nodded. The pattern shifted when we hit it with the 12.8 GHz frequency. Run it again, Okafor commanded, leaning forward. But this time, cycle through frequencies between 12.5 and 13.0 in increments of 0.05. As the test began, Captain Rodriguez entered the lab. Her uniform was freshly pressed, but the shadows under her eyes revealed the weight of command. Tell me you found something we can use, Rodriguez said without preamble. Okafor's lips curved into a faint smile. Actually, I think we have. She gestured to the display. Watch. The energy field surrounding the Vraxian components flickered violently as the targeted frequencies hit it, then collapsed entirely at precisely 12.85 GHz. Their shield technology operates on quantum-level energy manipulation, Okafor explained. Impressive, but not infallible. Hit it with exactly the right electromagnetic frequency, and it falters, Rodriguez finished, a spark of hope lighting her eyes for the first time since the encounter. Not just falters. It completely destabilizes for approximately 2.3 seconds before their systems can recalibrate. Rodriguez's tactical mind immediately grasped the implications. That's our window. Exactly, Okafor confirmed. We can't match their technology, but we can temporarily neutralize it. In the adjacent laboratory, Lieutenant Commander Zhao had been reviewing the tactical data from their brief engagement. He waved Rodriguez over to his station. Captain, I've been analyzing their attack patterns, he said, bringing up the combat footage. Watch the Vraxian response to our evasive maneuvers. The display showed the Dauntless executing a complex series of random course changes while the alien vessel responded with unnervingly precise tracking. Now watch what happens when we introduce this variable. Zhao continued, overlaying a simulation where the Dauntless performed a sudden, illogical backtrack during an escape vector. In the simulation, the Vraxian targeting briefly lost lock, firing at where the Dauntless should have been based on predictive algorithms rather than where it actually was. They're predicting our movements based on optimal tactical response, Rodriguez realized. Yes, but they're doing it too perfectly, Zhao said. They expect us to always make the logical choice. When we do something unpredictable, even something seemingly self-destructive, their targeting systems falter. Rodriguez looked between the two discoveries, her mind racing with possibilities. So they have two weaknesses. Their shields are vulnerable to specific frequencies, and their targeting systems can't handle the logical human behavior. She straightened, determination hardening her features. Prepare a briefing for all ship commanders. We're going to give the Vraxians something they've never encountered before. Humanity at its most brilliantly irrational. The bridge of the Dauntless shuddered as another Vraxian energy beam narrowly missed their port side. Captain Rodriguez gripped her command chair, watching the tactical display with fierce concentration. Across the Martian orbit, human warships danced in seemingly random patterns, drawing fire and confusing the alien targeting systems. Phoenix Squadron, execute maneuver Charlie Delta 3, she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos. Valkyrie Wing, deploy disruptor buoys and fall back to secondary positions. Acknowledgements crackled over the comm as Earth's defenders implemented the unconventional battle plan. The disruptor buoys, hastily constructed devices broadcasting the specific frequency Dr. Okafor had identified, floated through space like digital mines. Vraxian dreadnought entering buoy field now, Lieutenant Quan reported, eyes locked on her sensor readings. Rodriguez leaned forward. All ships in Sector 4, prepare to fire on my mark. The massive alien vessel glided into the invisible trap, its sleek hull rippling with energy. As it passed between three buoys, they activated simultaneously. The shield effects surrounding the Vraxian ship flickered visibly, destabilized by the precisely calibrated electromagnetic frequency. Mark, Rodriguez shouted. A dozen human warships fired their railguns in perfect synchronization. Hypersonic projectiles streaked across space, striking the momentarily vulnerable alien vessel. For the first time since the conflict began, humanity's weapons found their mark. The Vraxian ship shuddered under the barrage, its hull breached in multiple locations. Direct hits confirmed. Quan's voice rose with excitement. Their shields are attempting to recalibrate. Press the advantage, Rodriguez commanded. All vessels, fire at will. The Dauntless surged forward, leading another wave of attacks. Across the battlefield, other human ships implemented the same strategy, targeting Vraxian vessels with the disruptor frequency and following up with concentrated firepower during the brief windows of vulnerability. On the tactical display, a Vraxian cruiser erupted in a silent explosion as sustained fire overwhelmed its compromised defenses. A cheer went up across the command frequency, quickly silenced as a human destroyer disappeared in a flash of light, vaporized by an alien energy weapon. Admiral Chen's voice cut through the battle chatter. They're adapting to our frequency disruptors. Effectiveness dropping by 20%. Rodriguez had anticipated this. Implement Phase 2. All ships switched to tactical pattern Omega. The human fleet abruptly broke formation, each vessel operating independently with seemingly random maneuvers that defied conventional battle logic. Some ships accelerated directly toward Vraxian weapons, only to execute last-second evasions. Others performed deliberate friendly fire near misses to confuse alien targeting predictions. We've lost the Damascus and the Hiryu, Chen reported grimly. Rodriguez acknowledged the losses with a tight nod. Every ship, every life was precious, but they were buying time with their sacrifice. Admiral, she said, we've confirmed 3 Vraxian ships destroyed. Implementation of Dr. Okafor's frequency modulation was successful. The main fleet continues toward Earth, Chen replied, his voice heavy. This is merely their vanguard. But now we know they can bleed, Rodriguez answered, watching as another Vraxian vessel succumbed to humanity's desperate ingenuity. And we've proven our theory about their tactical rigidity. That's something Earth can build on. Chen's response was lost as the Dauntless rocked violently. Warning klaxons blared as a direct hit penetrated their armor. Admiral Rodriguez surveyed the bridge of the UES Phoenix, a patchwork marvel of human engineering and reversed-engineered Vraxian technology. The salvaged alien scout ship's quantum core had been integrated into the vessel's power systems, giving the Phoenix capabilities no other Earth ship possessed. It wasn't pretty. Exposed conduits ran along bulkheads, and the interface between human and alien tech remained finicky, but it was humanity's best hope. Fleet status, she asked, eyes fixed on the tactical display showing Earth's final defensive line. 27 operational vessels, Commander Okafor reported. She had transitioned from science officer to tactical advisor, her understanding of Vraxian technology making her invaluable. Hybrid retrofits completed on the Challenger, Intrepid, and Resolute. The others are operating with standard configurations and disruptor packages. Outside the viewports, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the darkness, already scared by Vraxian bombardment. The atmosphere over North America glowed with unchecked fires where Seattle had once stood. Admiral, Lieutenant Tanaka called from the sensor station. I'm detecting something unusual in the Vraxian formation. Rodriguez joined him at the console. Tanaka, barely 28 and the youngest senior officer on the Phoenix, had demonstrated an uncanny ability to recognize patterns in Vraxian behavior. Look at their response to our last sortie, he said, replaying the tactical data. The holographic display showed 3 human vessels executing random evasive patterns, while the Vraxian ships maintained perfect geometric formation despite taking damage. They're sacrificing tactical advantage to maintain this specific configuration. It doesn't make sense unless... Unless what, Lieutenant? Rodriguez prompted when he trailed off. Tanaka's fingers flew across the console, overlaying mathematical models onto the Vraxian fleet movements. These patterns, they're maintaining exact distances between vessels even when it exposes them to our attacks. It's like they physically can't break formation beyond certain parameters. Okafor leaned in, her eyes widening. Quantum entanglement. Their ships aren't just communicating. They're linked at the quantum level. Meaning what? Rodriguez asked, sensing the breakthrough hanging in the air. Meaning they're networked into a single entity, Tanaka explained, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. Individual ships aren't making independent decisions. They're extensions of a centralized intelligence. The command ship, Rodriguez realized, focusing on the massive vessel at the center of the Vraxian formation. Cut off the head, and the body fails. Tanaka nodded. If we could disrupt the quantum entanglement network, we might neutralize their coordination advantage. Could we deploy a larger version of the disruptor buoys? Rodriguez asked. Okafor shook her head. Not effective enough. We'd need to introduce a quantum interference pattern directly into their command network. Which means getting aboard that ship, Rodriguez concluded, the impossible scale of the task settling on her shoulders. Tanaka met her gaze, determination hardening his features. I believe I can design a device that would work, Admiral. But someone would have to infiltrate their command vessel to deploy it. Rodriguez looked back at the tactical display, watching as another human city vanished beneath Vraxian weapons fire. The choice was already made. Tell me what you need, Lieutenant. We're going behind enemy lines. Lieutenant Tanaka pressed his back against the pulsing wall of the Vraxian command ship, the captured biomechanical armor uncomfortable against his human frame. Beside him, Dr. Vega checked the quantum interference device strapped to her chest, its improvised components humming with unstable energy. 2 more intersections to the core, Tanaka whispered, consulting the holographic map they'd constructed from stolen Vraxian data. Sing, status. Security drones passing the upper corridor. Singh responded through their encrypted comms. The former Special Forces operative held position at the junction ahead, motion tracker in hand. They'll clear in 10 seconds. The infiltration team had managed to dock their captured shuttle during a coordinated attack by Earth's remaining fleet. While the Phoenix led a frontal assault to draw attention, Tanaka's team of 7 specialists had slipped aboard the massive alien vessel. "I'm getting strange readings," Dr. Vega murmured, studying her scanner. "The architecture of this ship, it's not designed for individual occupants. These corridors seem more like circulatory systems." Tanaka had noticed the same thing. Everything about the Vraxian vessel felt organic despite its metallic composition. The walls pulsed with energy in rhythmic patterns reminiscent of a heartbeat. "Path clear," Singh reported. "Move now." The team advanced swiftly through the alien corridor, the strange blue luminescence casting their shadows in multiple directions. They passed chambers filled with suspended biomechanical drones, the physical extensions of the Vraxian hive mind they had encountered in combat. A sudden alarm blared through the ship, the sound more like an agonized wail than a mechanical warning. "They've detected us," Specialist Zhang announced, monitoring their tactical feed. Security partitions activating throughout the ship. "Run," Tanaka ordered, abandoning stealth for speed. The team sprinted toward the quantum core, the ship itself seeming to constrict around them as passage walls narrowed and atmospheric pressure increased. Behind them, the heavy footfalls of awakened security drones echoed through the corridors. They burst into a vast, spherical chamber. At its center floated a crystalline structure that pulsed with blinding energy, the quantum core of the Vraxian collective consciousness. "Cover the entrance," Tanaka shouted as Singh and Zhang took defensive positions. Dr. Vega rushed to the core's access terminal, her fingers flying across the alien interface she'd spent weeks studying. "The network connections are more complex than we anticipated. I need 2 minutes to configure the device." "You've got 30 seconds, Tanaka replied grimly as the first wave of security drones appeared at the entrance. Weapons fire erupted in the confined space. Singh went down immediately, a Vraxian energy beam burning through his chest. Zhang followed moments later, sacrificing herself to destroy a cluster of drones with an improvised explosive. Tanaka felt something pierce his side, a crystalline projectile that burrowed through his armor. Pain bloomed as the alien technology began interfacing with his nervous system. Through rapidly blurring vision, he saw Dr. Vega stumble, her lab coat darkening with blood as she worked feverishly on the interference device. "Almost there," she gasped, her strength visibly fading. "The algorithm is adapting." The remaining team members fell one by one as Vraxian drones continued their relentless advance. As darkness crept into the edges of his vision, Tanaka dragged himself toward the quantum core. "For Earth," he whispered, reaching for the activation switch on the interference device with blood-slicked fingers. Admiral Rodriguez watched in stunned silence as the Vraxian fleet's perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Across the tactical display, alien vessels drifted out of alignment, some colliding with each other as their coordinated movements suddenly failed. Tanaka did it. Okafor breathed, her eyes wide with disbelief and hope. The quantum interference is working. Rodriguez allowed herself one moment of silent acknowledgement for the sacrifice of the infiltration team before seizing the opportunity they'd died to create. "All vessels, this is Admiral Rodriguez. Implement attack pattern Epsilon immediately. Target isolated ships with concentrated fire. The hive mind's connection has been temporarily severed." Earth's remaining fleet surged forward with renewed purpose. Targeting systems locked onto Vraxian vessels, now moving erratically through space, their once seamless coordination replaced by clumsy individual reactions. "The Phoenix will lead the assault on their command vessel," Rodriguez ordered, pointing to the massive ship at the center of the disarray. "Focus fire on the sections we've identified as weapon control nodes." The Phoenix accelerated forward, its hybrid engines glowing with the eerie blue light of repurposed Vraxian technology. Behind it, 3 other retrofitted human vessels followed in tight formation. For the first time since the conflict began, Earth ships moved with greater coordination than their alien counterparts. "Admiral," Communications Officer Martin called out, "we're intercepting fragments of Vraxian transmissions. Dr. Okafor's translation matrix is processing them." "Put it through," Rodriguez commanded. Disjointed alien communications filled the bridge, translated in real time by Okafor's program. Connection lost. Individual function compromised. Human infection spreading. Re-establish central nexus. "They're trying to rebuild the network," Okafor explained, monitoring the data stream. "But the quantum interference is preventing full reconnection." Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Then we press the advantage while we have it." Across the solar system, the battle had transformed. Human vessels targeted individual Vraxian ships with precision strikes at their now vulnerable shield generators. The Phoenix led the assault on the command ship, its weapons enhanced with reverse-engineered alien technology, causing unprecedented damage. "Admiral," Okafor called, her voice tight with excitement, "I've isolated a more complex data stream within the Vraxian communications. It's not tactical information." Her eyes widened as she studied the translation. "It's historical. They're sharing memories." Memories. Rodriguez moved to her station. References to a previous encounter with humans, centuries ago, in the Arcturus system. "They refer to us as the Fractured Ones and Chaos Bringers." Okafor looked up, her expression troubled. "According to this, they attacked us not for conquest, but because they consider humans inherently dangerous to galactic stability." "Why?" Rodriguez demanded, even as she continued directing the battle. "Our unpredictability," Okafor replied. "They describe humans as entities that prioritize individual variance over collective optimization. In their experience, species like ours develop technology at an exponential rate because we don't follow predictable evolutionary patterns." She paused, studying the data more carefully. "Admiral, they're not invading Earth. They're implementing what they call a containment protocol. They consider us an existential threat to all ordered life in the galaxy." Rodriguez looked out at the battle raging around them, at human ships using improvised tactics and jury-rigged technology to fight an enemy vastly more advanced. "Given what we've managed to do today," she said quietly, "perhaps they have a point." The crystalline chamber at the heart of the Vraxian command ship pulsed with cerulean light. Admiral Rodriguez stood before the massive consciousness core, its faceted surface reflecting distorted images of the boarding party behind her. The air itself seemed charged with alien intelligence. "Are you certain about this?" Dr. Okafor asked quietly, making final adjustments to the translation matrix. "We could end this now. One quantum charge would shatter the core." Rodriguez studied the ancient crystalline structure. Within its depths, patterns of light shifted and flowed like synapses firing in a vast brain. "If we destroy them, we prove them right about us," she replied. "And we lose any chance to understand technology that's centuries beyond our own." The boarding team had fought through minimal resistance to reach this chamber. With the quantum network still disrupted, the Vraxian drones moved with hesitant, uncoordinated actions, like limbs separated from a central nervous system. "Translation matrix online," Okafor announced, activating the device. Rodriguez stepped forward, addressing the core directly. "I am Admiral Elena Rodriguez of Earth. We wish to communicate." The chamber fell silent. Then, slowly, the crystalline structure's pulsing light synchronized with Okafor's device. A voice emerged, not from any specific location, but seeming to form within their minds directly. "We are the collective. You have separated us. This experience is disorienting." "Your fleet was attacking our world," Rodriguez responded. "We defended ourselves. The light patterns accelerated. Your species represents unacceptable variance. Previous encounters demonstrated your kind evolves unpredictably. You reject optimization for chaos. You choose individual thought over unified progress." Okafor leaned close to Rodriguez. The network disruption has forced them to experience individuality. This may be our only chance to reach them. Rodriguez nodded. Your unified consciousness gave you technological superiority, she acknowledged. But our individuality gave us the adaptability to overcome that advantage. Neither approach is inherently superior. They're different evolutionary paths. The core's light flickered erratically. Your assertion contradicts 10,000 cycles of collected data. Optimization through unity has proven the superior model across 3 galactic sectors. Yet here we stand. Rodriguez countered. A technologically inferior species that managed to disrupt your network and board your command ship. We didn't do this through superior technology. We did it through creativity, sacrifice, and unpredictable tactics that your unified mind couldn't anticipate. The crystal pulsed silently for several moments. This fragmentation we now experience, it creates new patterns. Unpredicted perspectives emerge. That's our strength, Rodriguez said. Millions of minds approaching problems from different angles. We compete, we argue, we make mistakes. But we also innovate at a rate your collective consciousness cannot match. She stepped closer to the core. Her reflection multiplied across its facets. We don't need to destroy each other. We can learn from our differences. The light within the crystal seemed to coalesce, focusing on Rodriguez with an intensity that made the humans present shield their eyes. A negotiated cessation of hostilities would be unprecedented, the collective acknowledged. Unprecedented doesn't mean impossible, Rodriguez replied. It just means evolution.